Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka... And we are back with another Twitter thread. Today, rather than whining about a whole slew of cards, I want to talk about one in particular. While Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragons have had their day in the sun, and Dark Magician was alright in of format, the Red Eyes Black Dragon has never been anything but mid. One individual card, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and the card that searches it, Black Metal Dragon, have been okay, and I guess they played the vanilla in Dragoon builds, but outside of that, this strategy has done hot nothing in the TCG for its entire lifespan. Today, we're going to change that. What would you like Red Eyes to do? Now, the problem with this is that existing Red Eyes support is super confused. Like, a third of it is just random burn strategies. There's all these, like, Geminis that are in there for some reason. Some of them have to do with, like, equipping warrior monsters from your graveyard alongside Gearfried retrains. And then, like, there's zombie stuff involved as well. How are you tying it all together? How are you improving it? But first, I have a very special announcement. I'm partnering with Youtooz to bring you something that you've been beating down my door to demand for a decade, an MBT you can cuddle. This plush is going to be available at mbt.youtooz.com starting April 19th. It's going to cost somewhere between a half and a third of a bonfire and be available in very limited quantities, so mark your calendars now. You can cuddle it, caress it, compliment it. You're doing great. Beat the hell out of it. Pour milk on it and suck the milk back out and slam it against the wall so it'll make a loud thud. Just don't put it in a... I know you're going to put it in a jar. In fact, first person to put it in a jar and send it to me, I'll retweet. It's about a foot, so you got to get a big enough jar and, you know, stay hydrated. If you can't afford this little guy, you can still get your hands on my cake by going to mbt.youtooz.com and entering a giveaway raffle. And if you're a YCS Raleigh, this guy's coming with me, and I'll explain on Twitter how he can come home with you. That's it. April 19th, 3 p.m. EST, available for 14 days only. Bye. GCD said, I just wanted to be able to tie together all the other mismatched Red Eyes support they've gotten over the years, forcing it to go through all the miscellaneous summoning types that they've gotten in order to chain searches together a la Signet Codec is what I'd want to see. This is Red Eyes Instinct. If you special summon a Dragon-type Xyz, Synchro, Fusion, Ritual, or Link monster using at least one Red Eyes monster as material, add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand. You can only apply this effect once per turn per monster card type. This is funny, but I imagine that it's not very good. Dyer says, Red Eyes will never be stronger than Blue Eyes, so if it can't outpower decks, it'll need to out-resource them. Give Red Eyes an easy way to repeat the resource loop and ways to stop itself from dying while it pokes at the opponent. You can discard a card, special discard from your hand. You can only activate the effect of Perseverance Dragon once per turn. If this card is in your graveyard or banishment, you can special summon it. You can only special summon Red Eyes Black Perseverance Dragon twice per turn this way. That is not an effect you can print on something. If there's a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard or banishment, destroy 2 cards on the field, destroy them.
Minor spelling mistake.
And if you do special summon a Red Eyes monster from your graveyard or banishment, if a monster is summoned to either field, you can special summon a Red Eyes monster from your deck twice per turn, and you can detach a material from this card, destroy a card on the field. If this card is sent from your graveyard or banishment, you can special summon it, and if you do attach one card from either player's field or graveyard to it as material. These are insane, Dyer. These are unbeatable. Please pay 4,800 per effect card activation would be my ideal version of a Red Eyes meta, says I wish. This looks pretty good, and depending on the day it comes out, you only have about 2 days left to file your taxes. Here's an interesting take on it. Every DM watching kid knows the coolest thing ever was Joey metal morphing into the Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. A modern version could work by tributing Red Eyes monsters with equips to cheat out fusion bosses from the extra deck, maybe even equip traps specifically if viable. This is such an interesting card because it really can be special summoned from the deck, one of the very few cards that can do that, without starting a chain, I believe. Ass traps. Red Eyes itself has the bones to be incredible thanks to consistency pieces like Insight, just look at Duel Links, but the end bosses are always strictly burn related, correct? To flip that on its head, let's talk about a fusion boss that does something with burn damage. The origin of Red Eyes. Cannot be special summoned except by fusion summon when damage is dealt to your opponent by a card effect using a card that activated in chain link to another card. On resolution of that card's effect, negate all other cards with a lower chain link value than that card. It turns your burn spells into negates. That's an unintuitive way of wording that effect, but I guess it works. Ultima says, ideally something graveyard focused with recursion. You can make it more of a deck that can win the grind game. There are cards in archetype that have a graveyard focus, and I prefer that over the dumb equip focus they tried to do. Well, DMD is a hell of a card, and Gearfried the Red Iron Knight is, not. Abyss says, we already have Konami enabling burn FTK decks and the new gimmick puppet support. We should end up with Inferno Fire Blast blasting people to their death after special summoning a Red Eyes with double its attack stat and setting a spell trap that mentions Red Eyes. We don't need more FTKs! I vote we embrace its current playstyle and create the first viable Gemini Burn Ritual Xyz fusion deck. I vote the opposite. More about the zombies. The 3 that exist all do the same reborn by hitting different conditions, so I'd like an expansion on that by zombifying existing cards. Lord of Red, destroying zombies zombies on field. Red Eyes Fusion sending zombies and Red Eyes from deck to fuse are some other examples. These cards are all so cool, and it's just a damn shame they are just not good. It's worth remembering that Blue Eyes won Worlds because of a card that was basically built to counter the meta at the time, and was still versatile enough to see use. So in the spirit of that, here's a new fusion that counters the current meta, Red Eyes B Lancer. You can also special summon this by sending the above materials from your side of the field to the graveyard. This card cannot be targeted. Your opponent cannot activate cards they added to their hand unless they drew them. And then once per turn, you return monsters from either field or graveyard to the deck up to the number of effect monsters sent to the graveyard to summon this monster. That's great. I love that it's called Balancer. The response to this one says, I'm realizing I didn't put a hard once per turn anywhere on this card, but given that it's Red Eyes, it might be a necessity for it to be viable. And on the opposite hand, this is a pretty good idea. I think you think this is my PC play? You can add one Red Eyes spell trap from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, place it face up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. You can only use each effect of Red Eyes Poplar once per turn. As the underdog archetype of the 3 old vanillas, I'd like to see an increased focus on revival. Every time a Blue Eyes White Dragon knocks it down, it gets back up stronger. We've already had a lot of Red Eyes zombie stuff, so leaning into that alley gives them an established support base. Okay, wait, we're actually cooking. I like the Perseverance sub-theme from earlier, where like Joey's will is kind of what underlies all of the Red Eyes stuff. And the way that will is expressed is they don't stay out of the graveyard, which correlates with zombies. And then we can use Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. We can use the Giga Underworld Dragon. We're moving. Make a Red Eyes series of cards with heavy Dino synergy. You can say they're the Red Eyes cards Rex Raptor used. It's so funny that Rex Raptor's gotten all these crazy Dino support cards, and it's like, yeah, but he did play this one asshole. Where did he even get Red Eyes? It's all about Lord of the Red Turbo, baby. Let's go, Lord of the Red Turbo. I want Red Eyes versions of Joey's other warriors that help facilitate the high-level monsters and fusions while letting it play low to the ground. Axe Raider can search traps. Rocket can foolish an RE and lower a monster to that much attack, negate its effect if it hits 0. Wingguard can be something to blank a battle phase with upside. The last thing I want to see from the underdog's ace is an OTK strategy. I want something resilient that wins in a grind game. Meet Red Eyes Potential Man. Blue Eyes has power, but Red Eyes has potential. It's the 3rd biggest card in DM. They've got to make it good sometime. It's not that bad if you add 5 Red Eyes cards to a 35 card Dragon Link brew. It was tier 1 in Duel Links for a month, more like a year. It just needs one more wave of support. Dragoon and Darkness Metal count, right? That makes Red Eyes good. Give me Liberty. Give me Fire. Give me random Joey cards, or I retire. If and when, but never is. 0 tops. 0 meta relevance. 5 mediocre strategies. My ideal support has always been a play on Joey's use of Grave Robber, a general tendency to kludge a deck of whatever to make it a kind of invoked style fusion toolbox of different types. Give them Grave Robber Fusion, which shuffles back material in the grave for a Red Eyes. Simply play Rush Duels. If I could, I would. I just don't know what else to tell. If I could, I would, dog. Look at how fucking sick these are. The full art. Oh. You all came up with some pretty good concepts, I got to imagine. Already the wheels in my head are turning, and I'm thinking of different ways that we could potentially even cook up a Red Eyes Dragon deck today. The problem is getting them implemented. Konami, once again, we are handing you free money. It is your job to take it. I made this deck. Okay, that's not...